And I don't want anybody. All right. So let's go ahead and share our screen and start our kickoff with one of my favorite movies. You know, I love that movie because it doesn't only talk about what we do, but it talks about things like the fact that, you know, we want them to trust us and we're here for them throughout the whole journey. And, you know, we want them to feel at home. And it just talks about lifestyle. It talks about the fact that we care about them as people. It just is just such a wonderful video. And how much longer can we use it, right? Because they'll be coming out with another wonderful one soon. So I'm excited. But anyway, just to keep in mind, we are always looking at our vision. And I have to say, we are definitely still the leader through the markets we serve, recognized as a real estate company of choice. But we are committed to setting the ultimate standard of within the luxury real estate market. But I have to say, we're just committed to setting the standard, I think, really to all of the markets we serve, you know, not just the luxury market. I mean, guys, we'd love to say all we do is luxury, wouldn't we? But here in Central Florida, we're always reminded that luxury is a lifestyle, not a price point. So,
we love those
with
mobile
that,
homes on acres.
moving on.
All right.
That leads me to our wonderful speaker here today, Miss Maria Smith.
Hey.
So I'm going to mute myself, and Miss Maria, you can, or you know what? I'm not going to mute myself.
Yeah,
I'm going to let you.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead.
You can just hear me.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop sharing. Hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead, admit all. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it towards you. And I want you to share with us. Oh, come join me. Okay.
Over on my wheels.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I just want to be talking about luxury market, and we're so lucky in a lot of ways because now the market has gone up so much. The values have gone up so much, and I have great news for you guys. The Fannie Mae limit for 2022 for the loans. Remember, it used to be 548. It's now 647.
Wow.
200.
Woo!
That's great.
That's huge. So that really helps us, all of us. We still, of course, have all the jumbo money, but in our market, a 647-200 loan is going to hit a good amount of our people.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to have to do too many jumbo loans,
Yep.
hopefully. Even if you do a couple of million price point, sometimes people are going to fall back because cash is king right now. People have a lot of cash. They're going to fall back to that 647-200 mark, which is nice because whenever we're in the conforming space versus a jumbo space, I get to run everything through an automated system. You can have an appraisal waiver. There's just a lot of pros to doing the conforming. So when we say conforming, the 647, that's your Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, vanilla sort of loans. So that just really opens up a lot for all of us to stay in that price point. We still have the jumbos. We can always do those, but I wanted to tell you that. And then even bigger, I got to look up the number because it just happened. FHA is now 420.
Wow.
420,680. So that is for your people with marginal credit in the 600s, right? Some places go down to a 580 credit score for FHA. We do not, but there are, I can get you with someone that does, but we'll go down to 620. So if you have someone 620, they can put 3.5% down up to 400. What did I say? 420.
26.
So that's probably about what, a 440 price, something like that. So really opens up
First time home buyers.
Yep, it's huge. And that money can be a gift. Oh, and I did want to run off one more thing, just so you guys remember this. It doesn't happen very often, but it seems to be happening more often. People that buying investment properties, because a lot of people are buying for investment, you cannot have a gift on an investment property. Your people have to have their own money. It just seems to be coming up a lot more. People,
And they can only consider it a second home.
if it's less than 50 or more than 50 miles from where you live now.
And a second home can be a deposit of how much?
As little as 10% down.
And an investment property is a deposit of?
15, but I always recommend 20 or 25 because the interest rate's already higher on investment. And then the less you put down, the more expensive it gets. So we're talking in the 4s. I mean, it gets really up there.
The 4s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're so used to the 2s and 3s
Horrible.
now. But so yeah, if I always recommend at least 25% if the person has the money. Plus, investment property, it's all about cash flow. And so a lot of people, they want to make sure they're making money every month. So you got to keep the payment down, and then putting 25% down is just safer as an investor. But now a lot of people want to leverage their cash too.
Right.
So if they want to buy multiple of them, they may only want to put 15% down. But
one more question I learned this past week about a program called the professional loan. So it's like the doctor program.
Yes.
Share with us about that.
Okay. It's our professional portfolio loan. We put it in our portfolio, and that's jumbo, 90% up to $1 million. And I think it's 85% to $1.5 million. No PMI, no escrows if they don't want to escrow their taxes and insurance, which a lot of high-end people do not want to put tens of thousands of dollars in an escrow account.
I don't know.
Right? So
I'm very high.
Yep. Yes, you are so high. So it's a great product, and the rate, if they have a 30-year fixed, you can do a 10-year, 7-year arm too, but a 30-year fixed probably in the low 3s, 3.25, 3.3 on 90% financing.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that they call it professional, but it's pretty much anybody.
So anybody.
Yeah.
What's the credit requirement?
720.
Wow.
720. Now, the one thing that is big, you have to have reserves.
Okay, how much?
25 months.
Okay.
So if the payment is $5,000, I can't do math in my head. Let's just make it easier. If the payment is $2,000, they need another 50 grand in the bank.
Right.
You know, so but that can be your 401k. It doesn't have to be liquid necessarily, but they want to see that you've
can carry it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, oh, we're going to scrimp by, do our 10%.
And only on primary residence.
Primary second home.
Or second home. Did you guys hear that? That's a second home too.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So if you have an individual who has capital, who wants to buy a second home, they can do 10% down up to $1 million with no PMI.
Yeah, it's a sweet loan.
That is unbelievable. And they can do 15% down up to $1.5 million.
Yes.
No
I'll double
PMI.
check that, but I'm going off.
So what is the name of that loan? What is the name of that program?
It's just our portfolio professional. It's just, we just put it in our portfolio.
Okay.
You guys do HELOCs?
We do HELOCs, not me personally, but the bank side does. And I also found out we will do a bridge loan.
Bridge loans are back.
Bridge loans are back. Now, keep in mind, a bridge loan is just a HELOC.
Yeah.
It's basically just your home equity line of credit, but it's tied to your primary residence. They won't do them on second homes. And they also don't like condos for that. So,
but remember, the point of the bridge loan is to really usually take the money out because you're trying to buy another home. So you want to take the equity out of the home to use as a down payment on your next purchase until you sell.
Right. Or the other thing too, to keep in mind, if we're doing this 90% loan, and maybe they were going to put 20% down, they just don't have it until they sell their house. We could do the 90% with no PMI, and then have to worry about doing a HELOC at all. Either way. And then remember this too, guys. You can do, maybe we do a 95% loan for somebody, 97, but then they do sell their house. As long as they qualify.
I like her, it's very informative.
Okay, as long as they qualify for both houses, we can still close on the loan, and then they do something that's called a recast. So recast is when you have cash after you sell your house, you're not refinancing, you still have that low 3% interest rate mortgage you just did. You don't have to refinance it, but we will give you a lower house payment if you put at least 10 grand more down.
Wow.
So you just they call that a recast, and every a lot of people don't realize it, but almost every lender, servicer of your loan
I can
will
get
do
my
that.
head? Stop it.
Yeah.
Why do
So-
I want to put an extra 10 grand down right
Yeah.
now?
Now it would lower your payment, or you just put your 10 grand down and you get done that much sooner. So it depends. You probably wouldn't necessarily 10 grand won't make a huge difference in your
Yeah.
payment. But if you sold a house and now you have 100 grand,
Right.
you know, and you were thinking, I really wanted to pay cash for this place, but I can't right now. You can still, if you qualify for both houses,
Right.
then you just turn around and put that 200 or 300 down that you just got off your house on the new place and just keep a $100,000 mortgage or whatever. So just something to think about for your people that are wanting to pay cash, but they don't quite have all the money for it. Maybe we do a bigger loan right now and then they can just lower the payment later.
Or the people who actually just found that home and it just came in the market and they're like, oh my gosh. And they're like, I don't know, but I don't have my house ready to sell because maybe I needed to change my roof, because we all know you need a new roof now, right? So just don't worry about it. You can buy this new home right now with not 5% down, and then you could just recast that loan when you go ahead and sell your house.
Yeah, and get rid of the PMI too.
And get rid of your PMI.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Without refinancing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay those closing costs again. Nice.
That's awesome.
Any other questions, guys? Anything you have coming up that?
I think we just
not
got
in
a
your-
bunch of Christmas nuggets right there, right? Like
I just love the new loan amounts.
yeah.
647 and 420 is just huge for us. It just opens up a whole nother level of buyers. That's 100,000 each on both, roughly.
I just see a social media post. Something just landed in your stocking, right? I'm just
Oh,
saying.
nice.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Mhm. Anybody else have a question for Maria?
And
Dawn.
I do. You guys are doing a great job. I'm noticing, and I love with the new contracts. Y'all are giving your lender enough time to get appraisals done with the approval. Thanks to Carrie reminding y'all about that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And Dawn said that you helped her out, and you have a seller you're helping with the buyer's agent.
Yes, we're
Aw.
trying. I don't know about that one, Dawn. He's iffy,
Thanks,
but I'm
Dawn.
trying.
And yes, Stacy, I will send out this information. So Maria, if you can send
Yeah,
me
I'm
information on
gonna
the
do
loan
it. I'm
programs,
gonna do it.
I'll send it out to everybody, and that way you can. But guys, this is great information that nobody knows. And again, people have data, but it's this kind of stuff that makes you the expert when you have something nobody else has, right? Have you ever heard of that professional program? I hadn't. Okay. When I heard that program, I was like, what? We need to capitalize on that stuff. Listen, these loan rates, they just came out hot off the press. Nobody's talking about that. You need to be the first person to talk about that. We're not mortgage brokers, but we need to be the one in the know. And that makes you the trusted advisor, right? That's the point.
Oh, and even though that's 2022, I can still do loans now because they're not closed. I mean,
That's why we say
Yeah.
Christmas came early.
Yeah. So 647 and 420 are the new ones.
Well, thank you, Miss Maria. Woo! I don't know. Can we say Christmas came earlier? Do we have to say holidays? I don't know. Do we have to be PC? I don't know. When would you think the first loan closing could be in January with the new loan limits?
Oh, I already have one. I have
She's
one
already
closing in
has
December.
one. She's closing it already in December. So yay, we love that. Okay, any other questions, guys, for Maria? Okay, so then we're gonna move on. I love it. I gotta share my screen right here. So again, we are growing. We're going to be growing, but currently, again, this is the data you need to know. You should be able to run this right off the top. Over 1,000 offices worldwide. We're in 74 different countries and territories, 24,000 associates. And we did already last year, 150 billion as a company. How much did we do so far? And we don't even know this year, but as of 2 months ago, we did how much?
8.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We don't know. Like, how much you guys think? Let's bet. I think we should have a betting pool. Like, who? I'll buy drinks at the Christmas party. Anybody want to bet? I say, but let's have a bet. Let's have a bet. Come on. Take off your mic. What do we think? What do we think? Let's.
The final number.
So, what do you think the final number for the year will be?
For your group or for?
No, for all of Premier Sotheby's.
Ah.
Not Sotheby's International, but Premier Sotheby's. What do you guys think? We were at 7.1, right? We totally killed
10.
our
I say
10?
8.25.
8.25, Rafe says. You know what I want us to do? I'm going to keep a little poll out. Let's keep a little poll. We're going to keep a running poll. I want everybody to send it. We're going to put it up. We're going to manage this poll. And we're going to have I'm going to have like a gift card or something. Oh, Maria.
I'll do it.
Maria's going to host a gift card. So someone's going to win a gift card of we don't know what, but it'll be good.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. And we're going to have a little thing to see who wins. Okay. So make sure you put it in. We're going to keep this up. It's going to be a running poll and we're going to bet to see who wins. I like it. You guys like it? Come on. We got to bet. It's fun. Okay, so these are our stats again. We need to know again about our growth in the past 5 years has been incredible. Sotheby's, you can't keep up with the amount of growth that we've had. Over 27% we've grown in terms of our sales associates, but we're not going to be the number of agents, but we will always surpass people in the number of volume and most importantly in our service and in our exposure. But look at that, our referrals have increased 42% year over year. That's where we kill it. And that's what we're focused on, right? So one more opportunity from Sotheby's for your guests, your customers, your friends, your family. Home for the holidays, baking with Milk Bars, Christina Tosi. So you can share it. There's 2 days she's doing it. Then they have this cute little cooking book that you can actually, it's downloadable, so you could throw it right into Presentation Suite. You could do it as a little flip book. You can put it out on your social media. It's got 3 different recipes, peppermint something. I don't know. There were 3 little, I don't eat this kind of
Is
stuff.
it a video?
No, she's doing this live.
Oh.
And then you can kind of jump in whenever you want to watch it. But she's a very famous bakery chef, or whatever. I don't know.
Yes.
What?
She is, and her stuff is delish. I bought it 2 months ago.
Listen
Of
to
course,
her.
Jules
Jules
does.
would know.
They ship worldwide. That's why.
See, there you go. I mean, does she make sugar-free stuff? And sugar-free is just never that good. So I just, I know. Yeah. But I think for everybody else, it's going to be really, really good. So check into it.
What does Fran have?
What? I can't see.
Zoom
Fran.
in on Fran. Oh,
What does she have? Oh, her little puppy. Okay, this is
That's
not
my
puppy.
baby. That's my
Okay,
baby.
this is not puppy treats, Fran. I don't think that your little baby should be having the milk bar, thing that you're doing. But definitely you want to send this out to people, give them an opportunity. It's a great way to say, hey, if you're looking to make some great Christmas cookies, do it with the Milk Bars, Christina Tosi. And it's a great way to also remind people we're also Sotheby's. It's like an underlying thing. It elevates us. And it's just a wonderful way to share great things for the holidays. So just throw it out there. It's just a nice social piece that you can share, and it's coming up. Okay. We all know contract changes have been around now, don't we? We know that the as-is and the residential contract changes. There's been 7 riders and 3 new ones. But I'm still getting a lot of confusion on these things. So we're going to take a little time today to go over the things that I keep getting questions on, because it's important we really understand this. So it's the financing contingency that people are really having trouble getting. This has changed, and the biggest thing you need to understand, if you select A, it's cash. It does not mean you can't get a loan. You can get a loan. It's just not contingent. So that means if they say to you, like you've got a buyer and you want to put in an offer and they say, well, we really are accepting offers with no financing contingency. They're telling you they want you to select A. You cannot select B and say we're waiving our financing contingency. You can no longer do that because B comes with a financing contingency. It's the whole point of B, okay? So if they're saying that, they clearly A, do not understand the new contract, or they might as well just tell you select A, because that is what they're saying. All right. So that means you're saying to your customer, you're not saying you can't get a loan, but we're saying if you're not approved for your loan, you're losing your deposit. That's what you're saying. Be prepared that you're either going to close with cash, or if you don't have cash, you're going to lose your money. Now, I don't know how many of you feel comfortable saying that to your customers. I don't know how many people you feel comfortable that your people will be able to close without that financing, right? Sometimes we have those people that are like, well, I could close cash, or, those people, okay, maybe be good with that. But I have seen people that need financing. Do you really want to select A?
You?
I do not recommend this, guys. And these people who are like, oh no, it's okay. Guess what? When they're at the door, when they're saying, sorry, you did not get your financing, and now they're losing their deposit, guess what they're going to say? It's not okay. How could you let me do this? They're going to turn on you. I'm telling you this. I'm seeing this happening. So I am advising you, if your customers cannot close without financing, highly recommend that you do not let them choose A. And if they are going to choose A, we write a strongly worded hold harmless that they understand that you have strongly advised them against this. And if they are turned down for financing, they will lose their deposit. I want that in writing, that you are advising them against this and letting them know that if they are turned down for financing, they do not have a financing contingency and they will lose their deposit. We want them signing that, and I guarantee if you give that to them, they'll be like, what? Because they're not getting it. They're still in this like frenzy mode. And I am seeing things happening and they're like, or guess what? The appraisal comes back lower. And now they're like, well, we can't come up with the difference in the money. Now what, right? If you chose A, what are you going to do? Okay, so you got to think this one through and you've got to prepare your customers. I know they're telling you they understand. I know it. I hear it. Many of you have called me. No, they really want it. They really understand. Then put in writing in black and white that you are writing that, and let's see if they sign it. Test them. Because if they sign it, maybe they get it. Jules.
I just don't get it. So, I mean, if you're saying, no, I'm
I agree.
confused. I swear to God, I'm behind here. So if they have cash, we're not supposed to put A?
No. If they have cash, go with the A. But what
okay.
I'm saying is what's happening is that many people do not understand. I just like, didn't mean to go down so far, but I whoop down. Okay, there you are. Many people do not understand. When I say people, I'm saying realtors on the other side. Listing agents, you got the buyer. And they're like, okay, we're going to put in an offer. And they said, well, we are wanting, or we are accepting, or we're giving preferential treatment, or however they're putting it, to offers that are waiving the financing contingency. That's what they're saying. Because this is like prior to having, right, or waiving the appraisal contingency. That's the big one. They're still saying that. This was like the old contract, right? You cannot waive an appraisal contingency in this contract. You can't, because it is tied into the financing contingency. So let's just look at it together so I can clarify this, okay? If you are selecting B, it is saying, okay, again, that it's contingent upon getting a loan within 30 days, whatever you're putting after the effective date, that you're getting approved. Oh, where'd it go?
Yeah, and please make it a longer time because now we're waiting on the appraisal.
Yes,
You can't
and
say 15 days.
that's right. Remember, the appraisal has to not only be ordered, but also come back and be decided within this period. Okay, it cannot go beyond whatever this period is. So you can't put 15 or 20 days because you're not going to have that appraisal. So you're going to get denied, or you're going to have to ask for an extension, which you're probably not going to get, right? And then you're going to have to make a choice, either go for the denial and walk away, or, try for in the dark for throwing the dice to see what happens. That's what's going to happen here. So put in 30 or 45 days. Give yourself time to get that appraisal back, okay? Now, you're selecting FHA, VA, conventional, or let's say you're doing that portfolio loan, you check other portfolio loan, right? Like we're doing with Maria, that new professional loan. Then you're saying, is it fixed, adjustable, whatever, just like normal. An interest rate not to exceed, if it's, 3.5, maybe you put 4% there, like normal. And never, always put that in there. Do not leave it based on the prevailing rate, because we know you can find out the prevailing rate's 12%, and we want to make sure that they can get their money back, right? So we make sure we put in an actual interest rate there for a term of, and you'd put in 30 years if that's what they're getting. That's all the same. Then it says, buyer's mortgage broker or lender having received an appraisal or alternate valuation of the property satisfactory to lender if either is required by the lender, which is sufficient to meet the terms required to the lender to provide financing and proceed for the closing. All of those things must happen within that loan approval period. That is the new addition. It never said that before, right? It also says the normal, the buyer still has to use good faith and diligent effort. I'm down here on line 102. Now they're adding, for the purposes of the diligent effort, it also includes ordering and paying for the appraisal, line 105. You now must pay for the appraisal in the beginning, because if you don't pay for it in the beginning, you won't have time to get it within that 30-day period or 45-day period, right? And therefore you didn't use diligent effort. So you could be found in default, the buyer. And what happens if they're in default? You lose your money. We don't want to do that, okay? This is now added to this section. Okay, you still have to keep the buyers, the brokers, the seller, and the listing agent fully informed about what's happening with the loan approval, all of that good stuff. That is normal, right? You got to do that. And then let's go to the second page. And you have to keep them updated on the progress and also give them the closing disclosures and the preliminary closing disclosures, right? Now, here we go. If within the loan approval period, the buyer obtains loan approval, the buyer shall notify the seller in writing prior to the expiration of the loan approval period. If they're unable to obtain the loan approval within that same time period, right? They also have to notify them in writing, okay? So this is the thing. Writing is no longer texting. It is an email, right? It is a letter, which would be stupid, but it is an email, okay? We can no longer text that. Now, if you're unable to obtain a loan within the loan approval period and you don't or cannot timely meet the terms of the loan approval, after you've exercised good faith and diligent effort, the buyer may terminate this contract by delivering written notice of the termination to the seller before the loan approval period ends. And provided the buyer is not in default under the terms of the contract, you'll be refunded your money. So what that means is if you cannot, if the home doesn't appraise, right? If maybe it appraises underneath and you don't have the money to come up with the cash, now you're getting, it's a default. You can't get the deny, you're getting denied the loan. This is when you write them and you say you cannot proceed, you get your money back, but it has to happen within that 30 or 45 days. This is what's new. If the buyer, let me come up here, has timely provided written notice and the buyer fails to close, the deposit is paid to the seller. Wait, if the buyer has provided either written notice and the buyer therefore fails to close, the deposit shall be paid to the seller unless the failure to close is due to the seller. So if the seller, if there's something wrong where the seller has maybe not performed, right? They were supposed to fix the roof. Well, then obviously, if the buyer has timely provided either written notice above and the buyer therefore fails to close the contract, the deposit shall be paid to the seller unless
They're saying they were approved, but they just decided not to close, then they get.
All right. Yeah, I skipped. Yeah. So here you go. First of all, if the buyer fails to timely deliver written notice and the seller explain the loan approval period, then they're assuming that the buyer is going to proceed as cash. However, remember, if you've not told them that you're got the loan approval, you didn't get the loan approval, the seller, I skipped this paragraph, sorry about that. The seller can now cancel the contract within 3 days, right? Huge. So if the loan approval period ends on the 5th and this home's supposed to close on the 10th, the seller may cancel the contract the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Remember that. Whether you had loan approval or not, if you didn't put in writing whether you had the loan approval or you didn't have the loan approval, that is the fault that you did not give them timely notice. The seller may cancel the contract. Yes, Fran?
But if you had sent an addendum extending the loan approval, then it's right and everything's okay. It subsides the.
Right, because the loan approval period didn't end, right?
Yeah.
Because that extended. But whenever that did end, if you did not send a written notice that you're approved or not approved, it would still happen. You still have 3 days. The seller has 3 days after the loan approval period that they can cancel. If you did not give them notice, whether you got approval or not.
So let's say my buyer did not get the loan approval. So shouldn't I have to extend or,
Or
then-
cancel,
huh?
or cancel.
But then it's the seller that has the right to cancel, or the buyer also has the right to cancel.
No, if you, the seller doesn't cancel, the buyer is terminating the contract because they're denied within the loan approval period. But the
Yeah.
point is, if you just didn't say anything, you went radio silent, right? You might have the loan, you might not. We don't know. We have to assume on the listing side that you're going to close. And we though, let's say we have a backup offer, we can go ahead and give you a release and cancellation. And your buyers are gonna be like, what the heck happened? We have the movers, we're ready to go. You'll get your money back because we assume you would close. But our backup offer, which is cash and higher, by the way, is gonna move right into first position and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what happens. Yeah, absolutely. So you have to be very, very clear about that. Now, if you don't notify us and we assume you're gonna close and you don't close, you are in default and we get the money. Sorry. It doesn't matter. You can't tell us the day of closing, oh, sorry, I didn't get the loan. You lost your contingency. It ended. It's too late. You can't say 2 days after loan approval, oh, the home didn't appraise. Yeah, that ended at the loan approval period. That's what was happening, right? They would give us a loan approval with contingencies on that appraisal. Not anymore. It is no longer you're approved with the condition that you get a good appraisal. That's gone. That all has to be done within that loan approval period. And you either have it or you don't. And so when people say, okay, well, if the home doesn't appraise, let's say the purchase price is 500. If it doesn't appraise at 500, if it appraises at 450, we'll come to the table with $10,000. That sounds nice. Great. Is the lender going to allow the loan to go through if it appraises at 450? We don't know that. You have to call the lender and say, if the home appraises at 450, are you going to give the loan or are you going to deny them? We don't know that answer. That is a very important question because it's writing that down, first of all, is stupid because it means nothing. Because the lender can simply issue a denial anyway.
Or even if we were to issue an approval, a counter offer, basically, because the appraisal came in low, doesn't mean the buyer even wants it because now it may have PMI or the payment's higher.
Right.
You know, like I don't.
Exactly. So this whole thing of going back and saying we're waiving this whole BS of before, how we're waiving that appraisal contingency is over. In our new contract, there is no such thing as waiving an appraisal contingency if you are getting a loan because you are not the lender. And I guarantee you, let me speak to whoever your lender is, because I would ask them, are you waiving your appraisal contingency? I do not know any lender who will waive that appraisal contingency. They will look at an automated one to see that make sure the home will appraise, but they're not going to waive it, right? They want to make sure the house is going to appraise.
Well, we do still have an appraisal waiver. We would
But
have known
you're-
that on day one.
Exactly. It's not like you're waiving
No,
it.
no,
You're going
no,
to
we're
look
not.
at it and make sure you feel comfortable
Right.
with it. They're just saying, we don't care what it comes in at.
Yeah.
That's what the waiver means.
You're right.
And in our instance, they're saying, we don't care what it appraises at.
Right.
The bank does.
Yeah.
And that's the ridiculousness of this. So
Right.
the problem is that the realtors on the other side have no freaking clue what the new contract says. And this is the issues we're having.
So let me ask you a question. If you need more time on your loan approval, because the appraisal isn't in yet.
Yeah.
And so the day before the 30 days, you send as the buyer. I'm always working with buyers.
I love this. You hear, Maria?
If you send a request
Uh-huh.
on the day before saying
Uh-huh.
we need an extension,
Uh-huh.
you're giving the notice that they're not
Uh-huh.
approved. However, they don't have to sign that. So
Correct.
then what?
Then you have, so great question. It's the day before the loan approval. We don't have the appraisal back. Shocker. And the seller is going to be like, I don't want to wait anymore because I got a great backup offer, right? Because that's our market right now. So what do you have? I recommend if they do not sign it, you send a release and cancellation. You have two choices. You either tell your buyers they're either going to chance it and hope to God they can close on time, because if they're not willing to extend that, they're not going to be willing to extend the closing. And if you're waiting on the appraisal, do you think you're going to be able to close on time? And maybe you'll get the documents in time to be able to have the automatic CFPB extension. but maybe not. I mean, you're rolling a lot of dice here. I don't think I'd chance it if it were my, I mean, maybe you have $1,000 in and they don't care. But if they have $5,000 in and these people need that money, I'm not playing with that. So it's really critical your buyers understand what's at stake here.
And when you send an addendum, just because I don't know your side of the business, do you put a date on when they have to respond to that addendum?
No, we can't tell them when to respond. It's whenever they get back to us. We can say we want you to respond, but they don't have to respond. We can't force a response. So then we have to send a release and cancellation, and then we've sent it in time. Whether they respond or not, it doesn't matter. We've sent a release and cancellation in
But
time.
you've given the notification that we don't have a loan approval.
Doesn't matter. We'd have to say we're denied. We'd have to say we're denied a loan,
And then.
Yeah, but
then get out of it. Yeah, Jules.
won't the lender need to send documentation or email?
About the
stating-
denial?
Correct.
Oh, thank you for asking. That's another great question. This just came up recently. I've had so much fun with this wonderful thing. I can't tell you. That's why we're spending some time on this here today. So this is another thing it says. If the property has had, let's see, this is one. Okay. If the buyer has timely provided either written notice, oh wait, let me go that one. Here we go. If the buyer fails to timely deliver, no, not that one. Here we go. If the buyer is unable to obtain the loan approval within the loan approval period, the buyer may terminate this contract by delivering written notice of termination to the seller prior to the expiration of the loan approval period. And the buyer shall be refunded the deposit, thereby releasing the buyer and seller from further obligation. So it doesn't say that they actually have to provide the information from the lender. However, it does say that they have to have used diligent effort. So therefore, as the listing agent, I'm going to require the information from the lender showing why they were denied, because I want to make sure that they used diligent effort. Because if it comes back and it says they didn't provide all their documentation, they don't get their money back. They didn't use diligent effort. If it says they were denied because they weren't able to get their appraiser because they didn't order it soon enough, because they didn't pay for it, sorry, they don't get their money back, because that was part of the diligent effort. Remember on the last page?
I cannot hear you. We're breaking up.
So they say right here, buyer's mortgage broker and lender. Okay, buyer's failure to use good faith and diligent effort to obtain the loan approval during the loan approval period shall be considered default under terms of this contract. And so now they're saying paying for an appraisal and other fees and charges in connection with buyer's and buyer's application are now all part of that diligent effort. So therefore, if the reason the appraisal didn't come in time is because they waited to pay because they wanted to have the inspection done first, they're not going to get their money back, my friend, because that's not diligent effort. It says it right here in this part of the contract.
Yeah, there's no.
So there is no time to get an appraisal ordered.
You have to order it right away.
Yes.
As soon as you go in contract, you got to order that appraisal. And that's why they added it right here in, line 105. Exactly. So that's the beautiful thing about this contract changes. They know that we're having a huge problem with appraisals, right? They know it's taking too long. They know that people were waiting and that they were coming back after the loan approval, and then it was coming back under. And so then they're saying, well, does it count? Does it not count? Right? All these problems. So they said, listen, we're going to get rid of all that. They have to order it right away. It's now part of diligent effort. It has to be finalized during the loan approval period. Period, end of story. It doesn't continue past there. So either you have the loan with the appraisal or you don't. Clean, simple. So this whole, I'm going to bring money, I'm not going to bring money, I'm going to waive appraisal, I'm not going to waive appraisal, it's gone. It is irrelevant. It is no longer part of the contract, because if you're getting financing, is the bank going to agree with that? No. That's the point. And I can't say no, right? Because you have to call the bank. If this is a customer who's putting 50% down, yeah, you're probably fine. They probably can come up with a lot of cash. But would I be okay with that? No, I still would call the lender, because the lender could say, well, we actually have never seen their funds, right? We've heard that. And they can say, well, we don't really know that they have the funds to come up with more money.
Or we don't always have to verify funds that we don't need.
Did you hear Maria say that? She said, we don't have to verify funds that we don't need. So this is the thing. Don't just assume because it's 20% down that they can say we'll come up with all this extra money. If they have not verified those funds, they could still issue them a denial. So this whole BS of, oh, we're going to put all this extra money down if the home doesn't appraise, and we're going to waive appraisal, and we're going to do all this. It's a bunch of malarkey. It means nothing. It is so ridiculous. And people are basing contracts on this. It's so stupid. I can't tell you. So I want you all to understand, unfortunately, you're still dealing with more agents who don't understand this. And they want you to write all the stupid stuff in there.
Another reason to work only with your selfish people.
If only we could only work with ourselves.
could.
That would be a beautiful world. But the reality is, you need to understand, if you're writing it down, they can't hold you to it. You could write all that stuff down and the lender can still give you a denial.
And when you guys do a CMA and you know it's going to appraise low,
Yeah.
a lot of times what people are asking me to do is, let's say it's supposed to be, the contract price is 300, but we know it's not going to come in at till 270 or 275 or whatever. As soon as I do the math for people and show them what that looks like, they may say, oh yeah, we'll pay 20 over or whatever. But when you start doing the math and you show them what their out of pocket is going to be, they don't always want to do it.
And that's really what's happening, guys. You notice how many homes are coming back in the market?
Yeah.
People are saying they're going to come up with money and they're not. Okay. They're not.
They're overpaying for the house and they're coming
Yeah.
out of their pocket.
We're going to overpay for the house to begin with. And then the bank is saying it's not even worth this, and we're going to pay more for it. You think these people are getting warm fuzzies about this?
When you show them it black and white, not that I want to squash deals, but I also don't want to squash a deal. I'd
Yeah.
rather squash it up front than.
Yeah, it's the market is normalizing a bit and stabilizing. Thank God. I'm happy about this. But you just need to understand, when people are saying, well, if you want your offer to be accepted, you need to waive appraisal contingency. Really? How do you anticipate that I do that? So I don't really understand how you want me to do that. This is the problem, because you can say we're waiving appraisal contingency. What does that mean? It means nothing. So this is what I would suggest. Now, let's say here's another fun one, right? Here's the appraisal contingency. Let's see what this says. This is another one fun one I had yesterday. This was also changed in October, by the way, just so you know. So this contract is contingent upon buyer obtaining at buyer's expense a written appraisal from a licensed Florida appraisal on or before, if left blank, 10 days prior to closing, stating that the appraised value of the property is at least blank if left blank purchase price. If the appraisal states that the appraised value of the property is less than the above value, buyer shall deliver a copy of such appraisal. Did you see that? To the seller within 3 days after the above date. Did you know that the buyer is supposed to deliver the appraisal?
Calling Premier Sotheby's International Realty. This is Cindy.
Hello, Cindy.
Okay, Cindy.
There's also some questions in the chat.
Okay, I'll get it in a second. So buyer is supposed to deliver the appraisal to the seller within 3 days after the above date to the seller, right? And then they can do this. There's two choices they have. This is the best part. I love this part. You're going to see that there are oftentimes three things that people think you can do, but no, there's two. They can either terminate the contract, in which event the deposit shall be returned and refunded to the buyer, thereby releasing the buyer and seller from all further obligations, or they can waive and remove this contingency, continuing with the contract without regarding the appraised value. What happened to negotiating? What happened to changing the price? What happened to the seller has to match a price? What happened to all that fun stuff that people think it says? It's not there, guys. That's what it says. They can either, they have to give the actual appraisal, and they can either terminate the contract, or they can waive their contingency and move forward. Now, we all know that things are negotiable. We can always add our option 3 that's not there, but it never says anything about that, does it? It also says that if the buyer fails to timely obtain an appraisal, or having timely obtained an appraisal fails to deliver timely notice of this, and the right to terminate, the contingency is waived and removed and the buyer has to continue anyway. So oftentimes I have heard where they forget to tell you, or more or less they tell you that it came in low, but they didn't tell you what they were going to do about it. This just happened this week too. I've had so many of these fun things this week. In this particular case,
And she's still smiling.
I know, because they're so fun and they're all different. In this particular case, the home came in under, and they told us, and they said, we want the seller to drop the price. I don't know, 30 grand or whatever it was. And we said no. And then nothing else happened. They didn't say they were going to terminate. They didn't say they were going to continue. 2 days after that time frame, they came back and they said, okay, I think we're going to cancel. And we said, okay, you can give us the release and cancellation, releasing the funds to the seller. And they said, what do you mean? It didn't appraise. We said, yes, it did not appraise, but you did not notify us of your decision within the time frame. What? Do you not read the documents that you submitted to us? We sent it back. Oh, well, if I knew that. Well, you should have known that, because you're a real estate agent, and that's what this says. That's your job. This
Oh my
is
gosh.
what we're dealing with, guys.
Well, and most people,
That buyer's really pissed. I feel bad, but I mean, come on.
most people don't know this.
I know, but it's written there in black and white.
know,
I mean, I'm like,
know.
hello.
So with this appraisal, because the new contract has the appraisal contingency
In
the
it.
financing section.
This
Yeah.
is moved to this point.
Yeah, do we even need this if someone's
So-
going through financing?
So, you might. So Rafe asked a good question, guys. He said, because the contract now clearly has an appraisal contingency written in there, right? Do we need this? And I would say, yes, maybe, right? So here's the question. Let's say you have a customer who's putting 20% down. You might still want this, because what if the home doesn't appraise and the lender knows that they have a lot of money, and they may still say, well, let's say just to make the numbers easy, it's 500,000. They're putting down 20%, right? Which is 100 grand, right? Am I right? So the home really needs to only appraise for 400,000, presumably. And maybe the bank says it came in at 480. So they feel comfortable, right? Because they have plenty of cash to come up with the 20 grand. That could happen because they know they have lots of capital. So you might, in certain instances, want to use this. You need to talk to the lender to see really at what price would the home have to appraise for you to issue a denial. That's what I would want to ask to know if I needed to use an appraisal contingency.
So does it matter on page 1 of the contract where it has the loan amount, where
Nope.
it talks about the LTV?
No.
Okay.
No, it just needs to matter. You need to have a conversation. It just means more about us talking to the lenders. We need to be more involved speaking to the lender on behalf of our customers to really understand, to protect our customers. So when they say, we want you to waive the appraisal contingency, our response needs to be, don't worry, we didn't include it. Right? I mean, that's all we can say, because these people are obviously idiots. They don't understand the new contract. There's nothing else we can do. And we just have to hope that, that will suffice, because you cannot waive it. It's part of the contract. What are we going to cross out? What, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
So any questions? Does everybody kind of understand? I mean, it's so I get these questions and I'm trying to help you guys, but it's not you. It's how do you make the person on the side understand the new contract? I feel like I need to do a contract class with all these people that are on the other side of the deal. Let me call them. Let me explain how the contract works. Like, I feel like that's what
I
really
feel
needs
like
to
they
happen.
don't even read it.
I think that I feel like saying, do you not understand that there's like a new contract and why they have one? Like, I don't think they even know. So I feel that that's probably the bigger issue, right? But my recommendation to you is, if they say, we want you to waive the appraisal contingency, I would say, don't worry, we won't include an appraisal contingency. That's all we could say. I mean, that's just nothing else.
Carrie or Maria, I have a question. If you from the listing side,
Yes.
okay, let's say you've got a property that it's going to be hard to get the appraisal on,
Yes.
but you've got somebody who's offering a great price, and they're saying, okay, we're willing to go X amount over the appraisal. Would you recommend I mean, as a lender, Maria, for example, would you provide something to the listing agent on that to confirm that yes, they're in a position to do that? Would you recommend that we get that information from the lender before
Definitely need to always call the lender on the offers that are coming into you. I had one yesterday and I answered the phone, and I think that's why we got the contract, because the listing agent was calling the offer lenders. And so you, to do your due diligence as a listing agent, always, always, always call the lender of the person who's making the offer.
And to that point, Linda,
Okay.
some people do have the money to come to closing with. And sometimes when they write that, they do mean it. It's just that, will they be held to it with what they wrote? Not really. What?
With Maria, we do with one of my buyers.
Yeah.
We like no number, they agreed to pay
But was it on this contract?
30,
No,
It was the old contract.
but they agreed to pay 30,000.
Right, but it was the old contract. But the point is that it's not that they can't, it's that this
Will they,
contract,
at the end of the day, do
right,
they have to?
it's that this contract doesn't make them. It'd be very hard to hold them to it, because this contract gives them a very clear out that they could just simply get the denial from the lender, and they say, well, you agreed to it in the contract. The answer would be,
Well,
really, did I?
And I don't know,
So-
to Janice's question, I don't know
Linda.
if oh, I thought it was Janice's,
Oh,
anyway.
maybe.
No, it's Janice.
Oh, sorry, Janice.
I don't know necessarily if, as the lender, if I can say, just because a person can, doesn't mean I can make them.
Yeah, well, that's the point. They might be able to, but
Like,
with
even
the
if
new
you ask me that
contract,
question, I could say, I have verified $200,000. I can say that,
Right.
Potentially. But that doesn't mean that the buyer
will.
that I have wants to spend that money. I can't speak for that. I don't,
Yeah.
it's
But
kind of.
if the buyer has agreed, let's say you added something into section 20, where the buyer has agreed and said, okay, I agree to pay if the appraisal comes in low, I agree to pay up to $15,000 over the appraised value. Then we can hold them, and as long as the lender is okay with that, then we can hold them to that, correct?
I
No.
don't know the answer to that.
No, because she can still deny them the loan. That's the problem. If the lender still
Right, but
gives them a
that's what I'm saying.
denial,
But that's what I'm saying. As long as the lender approved the loan, but I guess there's no way to know in advance if the lender is going to approve that. Is that correct?
yes, I will tell you, we've had
Because we
lenders
don't know
who
what the
said,
number's gonna be.
right, and we've had lenders who said that they will approve it, and then they've denied it anyway. So,
I mean, you gotta remember, no offense, guys, but I kind of work for the buyer.
yeah,
And so I am
Right.
going to try to protect their interests.
Yeah.
That's just the
That's what you
nature
do.
of me.
Mhm. Right.
So I'm gonna try to protect their interest as best I can. I am gonna, tell them the way things are, but it's a hard predicament, because I work for them, so I'm gonna try to help them best I can.
I would
know.
say the best thing about it, Janice, is that they're saying they have a willingness to. They're saying that and you're talking to the lender and you're verifying they have the capital to. So it's a good shot, but it is, and by no means does it lock them in. I don't
Okay.
really believe there's truly legally in our contracts a way to lock them into that. Unless you go higher on the money. You know what I mean? Like,
But I
there's,
think most people, if they're saying they're gonna do something, and that's why I try to show them real numbers, like in
Yeah.
her instance, I would say, okay, let's assume this is what it's gonna appraise. This is what this looks like. They should know that up. Hopefully, they know what that actually looks like and how much money. And I think most people will follow through, but there's no guarantees. They don't have to.
yeah, I would say that
To protect your listing, the listing, I would say.
people
So-
were getting in a frenzy and they were saying all sorts of things they would agree to. And I'm seeing a lot of people backing out.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if let's say the buyer has agreed in section 20 specifically that if the appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price, that they are willing to pay over up to $15,000 over the purchase price. So they've agreed to that. They've signed the contract agreeing to that. And let's say their lender does approve their loan, but now all of a sudden the buyer has a change of heart, let's say, and decides, well, guess what? I don't really want to do that anymore. Are you saying that that section 20
No.
that they've signed doesn't lock them in?
No. As long as the lender approves them, you're good. It's when
Okay.
the lender denies
Okay.
them. It's like
Okay.
the lender denial will trump all. It's like, it's like the trump card. So if the lender, because the lender can deny them, and it's like a get out of jail free card.
But you still have to do that by the 30th.
Yeah, it has to be happening in the loan approval period.
Right.
But if they are
Right.
approved, sorry, so sad, they're gonna have to pay
Okay.
capital. You're 100% right.
Okay.
Now you've
Okay.
written
Just
it in,
wanted to be sure on
it's
that.
party to what's in
Mhm.
there. But if they're denied, you're out of luck. Yeah.
That's not that many
Good
Okay.
question.
All right. Thanks.
questions.
Okay, there's
Not
some other
insurance.
questions. Okay, wait, let's see. I don't see any questions. Let's see. Chat. Oh, there's 10 questions. Let's see what we got in the chat. What happens if they can't get insurance? I'm finding with older roofs and barns, it's an issue. So what happens if you can't get insurance? You can't get a loan. If you can't get a loan, you get out during financing. Now, if it's cash and you can't get insurance, it's a different ballgame. That's a tough one. And if it's cash, I would write into additional terms that it's contingent upon the buyer receiving
Oh, that's
insurance.
smart, yes.
Yeah, be sure if it's a cash deal and you think an insurance will be an issue, or make sure you're getting insurance during the inspection period. As Teresa just went through something very similar to this, although it wasn't on a barn. But I would tell you that it's typically when you have a loan, if you can't get insurance, you won't get the loan, and therefore you get out during the financing contingency.
Well, and you would hope that a cash buyer would be, they're even more savvy, you would hope, and that if you're having 100% cash and you want insurance, because if that place burns down, there goes all your money.
Yeah. No, but this was financing. It was financing. So when you were talking about it not appraising and all these different changes, it made me think about my incident I had where she found out she couldn't get insurance on it. So for different reasons, the roof right now, they're really being hard on that stuff. So we couldn't come, I got it figured out, but I'm wondering with all this, if it is contingent on insurance too, just like it's contingent on an appraisal with financing.
Did you ever get insurance? It was just super duper expensive.
We did, we ended up splitting it in it was two different parcels. So we ended up financing two different things and it worked out. But still, it was the roof. Actually, the truth be told, the property had been, what's the word I'm looking for? Sinkhole remediation.
Oh, if you ever have anything like that too, you can always write an addendum about that. And we can always have like Phil help with that if there's any special legality that we need.
And it wasn't even about that. It was about the roof. But she could not with the roof and that issue, the sinkhole, which had been remediated by a professional. I about lost that deal because of that. We didn't know till a week before closing.
Yeah, insurance has become a huge issue, I'm going to tell you, which is another point, guys. Make sure you're putting your buyer's address into the dot loop so we can make sure that our insurance folks are be able to reach them to give them some information, because you need as many quotes as you can get. Insurance is really rough right now, and they are trying to reach out to them. And we don't always want to bombard people with phone calls. It's really great to just send them information and let them reach out to them. But we can't reach out to them unless we have their addresses. So make sure you're please giving us the addresses for your buyers.
Are they reaching out via mail?
They're sending them some information, and well, they'd like to send them information in the mail, kind of just like an overview of the programs and stuff, so that they have it to kind of peruse, and then they can reach out, because a lot of times buyers like to kind of keep that and look through that, to compare.
They should email them too.
I think they could do maybe email them. I'm not sure, but a lot of
Because I
people like
so
to
many
have that.
buyers that I think are in y'all's contracts, and they're asking me for insurance recommendations.
Oh.
So
Okay, we can talk about that.
yeah, I don't know, maybe
Oh gosh, we're getting really late. Okay, couple things and we'll move on. They now have the 2022 holiday campaign in my hub. So make sure you go in there, select all your customers and just click on holiday campaign. Even if you had past people on them, the great news is they'll only send them to them one time. So even if you had someone in there 5 times, they only get one. But every holiday, they'll get a great holiday card from you, which will be really nice. And you don't ever have to think about it. So it's a set and forget. Go in my hub, select all contacts and leads, go to marketing, drip campaigns, select 2022 holiday campaigns. Really easy. Great. TubeBuddy, I've been doing a lot of training on this. This is a Chrome extension. Highly recommend going to the Chrome store, downloading it. It's free, and it gives you some great analytics every time you go into your YouTube. It also gives you analytics on other YouTube channels, which is really interesting. And it gives you so many fun, awesome things to use. Again, I've been doing a lot of social media training in Dr. Phillips on Mondays. So come join us at 10 o'clock on Mondays. I'm not Zooming those because I go around to everybody's computer and help them with it. Like we were doing the Facebook ad campaigns. We're doing part 2 of the Remind. We're now downloading the list because it took forever to get everybody situated in their Facebook ads manager because everybody had issues with the stupid ads manager. Poor Fran had 16 cents to pay and she paid it. And then now they don't even show that she paid it. It's like retarded. So anyway, we've been doing that. And so anybody who, or if you haven't been able to come and you want me to help you with that stuff, we can do it in a one-on-one. So many of you have been meeting me for business meetings. I'm loving it. If you haven't had a chance to get in, meet me. We'll go through that as well. But I highly recommend this. And with no further ado, here we go. That's our invite to our official holiday team party. Woo! I will be putting it on my Facebook page. So I hope you all can make it. Can everybody come?
Yeah. What time? Yes. What time is it?
It's 6 to 9 on Tuesday, the 14th. And as you saw, flamingo dancers, food, drinks, great team, lots of fun. So it's everybody's invited, our whole team.
What's that thing?
Fun.
Yes, okay. And this is the Aura holiday party, the naughty or nice. This is on Friday. And apparently when you're the board of directors, I have to go to all this stuff. So I will be there on Friday. If anybody wants to join me, it's at the Ice Bar from 7 to something, 7 to, I don't even know. But anyway, if you're naughty, you wear red. If you're nice, you wear green. I don't have any green, so I guess I'm naughty. But anyway.
Do you have to wear a jacket there?
Yeah, apparently they give you jackets and gloves and you drink out of ice cubes. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
It's okay. It's fun.
you want to come, Jules?
No, and I can't that day. I can't. I'm sorry.
Nice.
I am booked.
Who
Sorry.
wants to meet me there?
I might join you.
Good, Rafe, meet me there. Trish?
Gary, Cindy, and I will be there.
Oh, you will? Yay! All
Yes, we will.
right. All right. Did you already book it?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
Are you
see you
fun or nice?
there.
Red or green? What are you wearing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I have either color, honestly. So we'll see. I wear like
For
black
red or
almost
green.
always.
I don't know. All I know is like yesterday, Cliff was like, "You got to go."
7 o'clock.
Oh, okay, I'm going. So I booked it. Going. Anyway, so that's our holiday party. A couple things I just wanted to share. Interestingly enough, our closed sales and Dr. Phillips, take a look at this. Let me get it close. Let me just do this. Look at this. The closed sales are going way up. Look at that. That is exciting to see, right? This is from October because we don't have the November data yet. Now, Windermere Winter Garden has kind of dropped a little bit. Claremont, guys, we must have no inventory at all. Totally dropped. Lake Nona, though, look at how much the closed sales have gone up. It has really greatly increased the closed sales. So I just think that this is a huge, wonderful, positive indicator that our market is really doing not only strong, but it's really kind of stabilizing a little bit. So I think this is fabulous. So great things are coming. Keep it going. Happy birthday to Tana, Veronica, Kim Horvath, Amanda, Stephanie Cornelius, Anita, Marlene, Linda, Daniel, Bruno, and Marcus. Woo! All right. And I just wanted to say we don't have our data out, but let me just stop my share real quick. We have a new person starting. What? Her name is Jill. Thank God. She's super sweet. You guys will all meet her. She starts training next Wednesday. She's been an OA for REMAX in Northeast Indiana for 8 offices, 225 agents. Very well qualified. Been doing that job for 12 years. So she's going to be fabulous. You will love her. And she will start training, like I said, next Wednesday, but she'll be at our Christmas party. So all of you will get to meet her. So she's really nice. And a couple things, our numbers, Southeast Orlando, we had listings 10.6 million, new sales 17.2 million, closed sales 17 million. Woo! Southwest Orlando 7.5 million listings, new sales 20.4 million, closed sales 27.1 million. Which is why we don't know your names, because Cindy is fried and running all offices by herself. And Claremont, we've had 1 million in listings, 2 million in new sales, and 5.5 million in closed sales. So, woo! Couple quick tips from Cindy. She says, please, no sold properties to be archived in .loop. Don't do it. You'll be on the naughty list. And do not sell properties in the MLS. Yeah, don't do that, guys. We need to have the Alta. So you can't change anything to sold. We need to get the Alta, make sure we have everything. Also, we are doing Nathan's Toy Shop, Give Hope to Kids with Special Needs. We're collecting toys for Nathan's Hope here in Dr. Phillips, in Lake Nona. Are we doing this elsewhere, Cindy, or just Lake Nona? Just Lake Nona, we have a box out in new and unwrapped toys for kids, gifts for teens. Buy a toy on Amazon, ship it to us, visit our website. But it's nathanshope.org. So if anybody wants to give hope to kids who are special needs, we're doing that as well. So thank you all for being amazing. Our spouse is allowed to come to the party. I am waiting to see how many people are coming. I am limited. It's not a huge space. So I want to see how many people we have. And then based upon the number that we have, I'll see how many we can do +1. So I would love to do +1. But again, I couldn't rent out the whole space because I don't have the budget for that. So, and they just don't have that much space, but it's an icon park. It's going to be awesome. So let's see how many people have that register, but hopefully we can do some spouses. So I will let you know as soon as so please RSVP to me at ASAP so I can get an idea. And then I can get back to you about the +1, because I think it'd be really fun. Because I really like to do that. Because nobody even thinks I have a husband, which I do.
I've seen it.
You did? Oh, you did? Yeah. He really exists. I am married. Yeah. Someone actually can put up with me. Believe it or not.
I'm the same way. He shows up when I ask him. People are like, "Oh, you're
He's huge. He's like 6'6" or something, right?
Really?
Yeah, and he doesn't go to anything unless I ask him. So it's like, I don't know. Since I have to drive the distance, I was wondering.
Yeah. Oh, it was you who's asking. Yeah. So it'd be great if we could do a +1. I'm trying, but again, I just have to see how many people are coming. So I'd like to, but please RSVP, please, please, please. I put a save the date in there. I'm going to change it to our awesome video, but I'm also going to send you all the videos so you have it because it's so cool. And I put it together. So anyway, have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.